This is Sarah Wolf from Aftertime.
This is Jake from Inaugural.
This is Rachel with Grave Shadow.
This is JP with Traveler.
This is Adrian Cowan from Seven Spires, and you are listening to The Great Metal Debate.
The Metal Debate Podcast returns with another amazing metal artist interview. Today I'm joined by Shaughnessy from epic heavy metal upstarts Siege Perilous. Thanks so much for coming on The Great Metal Debate.
Thanks for having me.
So we're here at Seventh Circle Music Collective in Denver. The evening before Siege Perilous is to perform at the inaugural Mile High Power Fest. How excited are you for tomorrow's show?
I'm super stoked. I'm a little worried that this is going to be, the interview before the disaster. No, it's all going to be great. It's going to be super fun. We've been I think Soren asked us almost a year ago, maybe 9 months or so. So we've been waiting a long time to do this.
Some time to kind of think about it. Let it grow in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a great set ready for tomorrow, ready to kick off the first Mile High Power Festival. I'm just really excited that we have something like this here in Denver. There's always been a great power metal community here, and I'm so glad that Soren from Celestial Wizard has kind of brought everybody together for a kind of unified big old thing.
Well, that was going to be my next question. It's a stacked lineup. I mean, that's the reason I came all the way from Kentucky out here. Seven Spires, Eighth Realm, Aftertime, Grave Shadow, many other great bands, and some local bands as well. Have you played with any of these bands before? And also a question I have, is there anyone on the bill that you're super looking forward to seeing?
Well, so we played with Celestial Wizard before, and we played with Star Wraith before, the other local bands. We haven't played with anybody really outside of Colorado, so I'm really excited to play with everybody. So many great new albums. Aftertime's new album is absolutely incredible. I've been jamming on that all summer. Seven Spires' new album, Fortress Called Home, is mind-blowing. I'm really excited to see everybody tomorrow. That's the thing. Traveler Prequel to Madness, holy crap, that album was so good. And so I'm really just excited to get to hang out with some of these artists that I really look up to get to chat with them, and then to get to see them play.
And you said, again, there's a good helping of homegrown talent here. It must do your heart good to know that these bands are going to be able to say, hey, in Denver and Colorado, we're able to perform this music as well.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things where the ability to really put Denver kind of on the map as a place that has power metal. I think a lot of times as we've kind of reached out to other places, they're kind of surprised that there's power metal coming out of Denver, and there's quite a bit of it, right? We're not the only ones. There's us, and there's Celestial Wizard. Star Wraith is black metal with some power metal flavors. So there's a lot of cool stuff happening in the genre here, and it's really exciting to be a part of that.
Yeah, we've had the opportunity to interview a lot of bands on the bill. Every one of them's super kind, awesome people. That's what I'm seeing tonight as well. Ty Christian, he has this thing about the new wave of nice heavy metal bands. My sense is that that's one of the wonderful things about the metal community, how nice folks are. Is that your sense as well? And tell me a little bit about that sense of camaraderie you all have in this community.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that I was really kind of surprised by. I was a little nervous getting back into this. I'm a little bit older. I'm 36, so diving back in and starting a new band from scratch a little bit later than some of these other guys was a little intimidating. And also, I was good friends with some people in the scene about 10 or 12 years ago, and it was a lot more competitive and not always in a super nice way. And so I was a little worried that diving into this project that was what I was going to run into, and I had kind of steeled myself for that. But actually then what I found out was that the new people coming up in this scene are incredibly nice. We're very supportive and cooperative, and we know that the most important thing, and I think it's a thing that held the Denver power metal scene back for a while, is that it was so competitive, where whereas a high tide raises all ships, right? And I think that is absolutely like the feeling that we have. We all love each other's music. We all support each other's music, and we are like we're all buds. That's the most important thing at the end of the day.
That's awesome. This will be my first time any show in Denver, but especially at the Oriental Theater. It looks like a really cool place. I'm excited to see it in person. Any tips for me as a newbie attending this venue?
It's a really cool venue. It's one of Denver's last like independently operating big venues. Like, it's got like a 750 capacity. I played there once before in my other band, the Stubby Shillelaghs, Celtic folk band. But it was many moons ago. But it's a really fun place. It's really open. The balcony's nice. It is a really great place to see a show. It's my favorite place to see shows. I saw Glory Hammer and Twilight Force there back in March. It was an incredible show, and I'm really excited to be back and excited to be on that stage playing power metal.
Yeah, you'll get to see it from maybe the best vantage point on stage. Tonight we're here at a different venue, Seventh Circle Music Collective, for a battle of bands featuring a number of killer acts, and some of them I'm honestly as excited to see as some of the ones on tomorrow's bill. Are you friends with many of the guys playing here tonight, and have you played previously here at Seventh Circle?
Yeah, both of those things are an emphatic yes. I love this place. It is like the punkiest venue one could possibly imagine, and even though we're metal, like I still love that about this place. It's really cool. It does a lot of cool things for the community, which I'm really happy about and really supportive of. And yeah, every band playing tonight we have played with at some point in time, other than Hell Hath Fury. That's the only one that we haven't played with yet, but I bet we will soon. Yeah, we played with Vintage Future back in June. We played a few shows with Skoldvog. We played a few shows with Signs of Tranquility. We got another one coming up with them in the fall, which I'm really excited about. Dark Honnigan we played with back in January, and Star Wraith we play with quite a bit. Wyatt actually mixed like our first recordings, the ones that we recorded at home, and gosh, he did a good job at taking my garbage audio and turning it into something nice for those first EP and those first few singles.
This place, it reminds me of a lot of the venues in my area of the country, Nashville and Louisville. I know a lot of those places have struggled in recent years. There's a lot of venues that we used to have metal shows at that have gone away. How do you think this local community has dealt with that, especially since COVID?
I know that it's been a struggle. So Lucy, who's Soren's girlfriend, she's one of the people that keeps Seventh Circle running, and she does an amazing job with that and with a lot of other things in the local community.
Super nice lady. I've been emailing with her leading up to this, and just so helpful and
absolutely amazing. Yeah. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, and I'm really glad that they do, because this is such a cool place. I was up at Brooklyn's, which is just a sports bar over by Mile High Stadium, right before I came down here, and I was talking to someone, and they were asking me where I was going, and I mentioned here, and they were talking about how great of a place this is for local music. And it's also the thing that I really like about it is, aside from the fact that I like it personally, it's a really nice, safe place for like kids to come and enjoy music.
I was about to mention I saw some kids in here and they were really enjoying it, and that's something you don't always see, a parent who feels comfortable bringing their kids in.
Yeah, and like the last show we played here, which was like April of last year, so about 18, 16 math months ago. There were these like kind of little punk kids who their mohawk was taller than they were, that showed up to jam out to our metal music, and it was so fun to watch, and they had such a good time. And I always love it when kids show up and that they're really enjoying it, because then you know you did something right, because they're not gonna lie to you. If they don't like it, you'll know.
That's a damn good point, man. So stepping back a bit, and for folks who aren't familiar with the band, give us a brief background of how Siege Perilous came about.
So most of us came together because we LARP together. That's how like most of us in the band met. We started about 3 years ago. me and my buddy Patrick, who was my friend who got me into heavy metal, we went to go see Unleash the Archers, Seven Kingdoms, and Ether Realm, which is really cool because then this has like a whole full circle thing to it. Ether Realm was one of the bands playing, and like throughout that show, I was just our Celtic band plays a lot less than they used to. We've slowed down a little bit, and I was like, I kind of want to see if I can do this, and I didn't know that I could. Like, it's incredibly complex music. You have to be really, really good just to be okay. And so I kind of asked some of the other guys. I knew that. So like Mark was in, our drummer was in 13 Nails, which was like a horror punk band. I knew that Scott played guitar and that he really liked Iron Maiden. I didn't know much else other than that. I didn't know how good he really was. And then we had, and then my buddy Patrick, who was our first lead singer, and we all got together. We started jamming. There was a lot of changeover in members because I think like me, Mark, and Scott quickly realized like, oh, this is something we want to take maybe a little bit more seriously than they do, which is a common story, and that's cool. But like, and then as we kind of accelerated, and now we've got a really, really amazing lineup. I brought over my buddy Eric from the Stubby Shillelaghs. He's our fiddle player in the Stubbies, and Scott one day messaged him because we were just needing a bass player. He's like, "Hey, you play stringular instruments. How about playing the bass?" And then my buddy Cody, who I've known for years, he was in a few metal bands in northern Colorado, like Darkest Gray. I think it was yes, Darkest Gray. And he's a really amazing musician. And so like we kind of spent about the last year with this lineup coming together, bringing those new songs together for the EP. So that's maybe a longer history than you wanted.
No, that's great.
Down.
No, it transitions perfectly. Today is the release date for your latest EP, 5-track offering titled Creation's Call. I've been listening it to a little over a month, and it's really grown on me. How long had those songs been in development? When did they originate?
So it varies depending on which song you're talking about. We really, I mean, it really wasn't that long ago. It was maybe about 15 months ago. I think it was kind of the start of summer last year that we really decided. We had released some singles, and they hadn't quite gotten the traction that we wanted. And so we kind of decided, it was really Scott's idea. He was like, "Hey, let's take a step back. Let's really focus for a few months on writing a few songs that we really, really, really are in love with, and then let's spend the money, let's go to a studio, and let's really do it properly, whole 9 yards, and see what we can get out of it." And of course, if Scott's telling me to go gung-ho for something, I'm like, hell yeah, baby. And so it was really over that summer that we wrote most of the tracks. Sons of the Verdant was one that was like a really late addition that we didn't know if we were going to put it on the EP because we didn't know if we'd get it recorded in time on our budget. And then we did, which I'm really glad about, because I'm really glad that, especially because one of the critiques we've got in our reviews is that they're like, I just wish it was longer. I wish it was an LP. And that sounds like I'm tooting my own horn, which I guess I am, but I have textual evidence to prove it. It was other people that said it. And so I'm really glad that we dropped 5 songs instead of 4, especially because I think that one brings some extra flavors into the EP that the other songs don't have, because every song kind of has a little bit of their own voice.
It's an odd critique. I mean, it kind of is what it is. I mean, I'd be like critiquing an album. I like a double album. I mean, I'm not sure what people want.
If you're leaving them wanting more, that's all you can. That's all you could really hope for as a musician is that you don't bore them to death so much that by the time you're gone, they're saying good riddance.
I want to talk about a couple of the tracks. I really love Brothers of Five. It's super intense, double bass powering the verses, and then that chorus kicks in with a super singable melody, and it takes you through several different moods. Tell me a little bit about the writing process behind that one. So
the thing I love about Brothers of the Five is it was based off of this stupid inside joke that me, our bass player Eric, and my buddy Jake had. We used to like play. We would play like strategy games and stuff together, and we just decided that, like, we were playing this strategy game. We're like, okay, this army is based around the 5 tenets of command: honor, integrity, resilience, willpower, and most importantly, command, the most important tenet of command. And it was just this inside joke we had. And then I played a character in one of Eric's tabletop games that followed that as well. And then when we were talking about, like, okay, we want to write one song that is like super power metal, like it's the most power metal thing you could think of. And I was like, oh, I know this is kind of dumb, guys, but what if we did the 5 tenets of command as a song? And then, like, by the time we ended up with it, and I was telling a couple of people earlier, I was like, I felt a little silly at the beginning, but then by the end, when we had the finished song, I was like, yeah, this is actually like pretty cool.
It's really cool. That's so interesting, the backstory behind that.
Yeah, I love that, and I love when you can take something that's like a little bit more like kind of internalized with like you and your friends, and you can turn it into something that like many people can enjoy. I think that's what making music is in a nutshell, which I think is just one of the really cool parts of the process.
Another of my faves is the first track on the EP, Oathsworn, mostly mid-pace, but a lot of building, aggression, and energy. You guys produced a lyric video for that one. What was the vision for that track?
So that was one of the tracks that we took straight from our LARP, which was funny because Scott wrote the music to the song, and he thought we would want to write about a different plot line that happened that weekend, but it was smaller. He was a little surprised, and I was like, but Scott, there was a kaiju battle that sent us backwards through time. I was like, we can't write about the B plot. We got to write about this A plot, because this kaiju battle sent us back through time, and now we are lost in time. And if that isn't one of the most metal things of all time, then I don't know what is. And it ended up like working just super perfectly. And I absolutely love that song.
I absolutely love the lore behind each of these songs. I'd like to ask you about all of them. Tomorrow you're going to get to perform those songs from the new EP. I guess possibly some for the first time live?
We've played all of the songs on the EP live at least once, okay, mostly in anticipation of this. Gotcha. But I mean, for most people, most of the songs on there we've only played like maybe once, maybe twice, and usually for only the most elite of crowds that would show up to our bowling alley shows, which I love playing those. But they tend to be a bit more sparsely attended than tomorrow's Mile High Power Festival is likely to be. So it definitely will be fresh. It's also going to be a little bit of a shorter set for us, which I'm actually excited about because it's going to be really tight. It's going to be just non-stop thrill ride, start to finish, 30 minutes, full tilt.
Awesome. Really bringing in the energy. I like one-off shows, but I love coming to fests and things like tonight because it's almost like a family reunion of metal friends. Do you guys have any favorite fests you've attended, or is there perhaps one on your bucket list that you're wanting to go to someday?
I mean, there's a lot on my bucket list. I'm really hoping that maybe because Ty moved up the dates for Mad with Power in Madison to early June next year, and I'm a teacher and I have my summers off. I'm hoping that I'll be able to make that one. Of course, Wacken, the big show, is always one that I'd really like to go to. I just might have to sell a couple of organs in order to do it, but that's definitely one on my bucket list. And I've never got to make it down to Prague Power, which I'd also always wanted to go to, and now I have like friends that are playing that, and that's super weird to me too. It's really cool, just like that, like pretty much like, I mean, okay, it takes a lot of work, but you mostly just say, hey, I want to do this, and then you push at it for a while, and all of a sudden like you're at least in the scene with people,
in the conversation.
Yeah.
Getting in the conversation, I think is half the battle.
Yeah,
and saying you want to do it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that like it's just kind of it's kind of just an act of will. It's just saying like I want to do this and following through with it enough. And then also sometimes having that humility to be like, okay, I need to get better at this. Because that's definitely a huge part of it too, because this is, I think, like, I think, the most difficult, like, genre / subgenre of music. It's fast, it's complex, the layering has a lot of stuff going on. Two instruments are not usually doing the same thing at the same time, and if they are, it's bloody fast.
Beginning to wrap up with you, and following this amazing weekend of metal joy and madness, what can fans expect from the band for the remainder of 2024?
Well, like I said, we've got a show that we're going to be playing with Signs of Tranquility, who are here tonight, and then our friends from Fell Harvest, which is a doom metal band out of Cheyenne. We're gonna be playing a show with them. It hasn't been announced yet, but I don't think anybody will get too mad at me. And then mostly we're buckling down. We're in the middle of writing our full-length album. Nice. The critics asked for it, and we must deliver. It's shaping up really good, and we've actually got a couple of really big guests that are going to be joining us on that album, but I cannot divulge who it is just yet. But it's definitely big people that your listeners will know.
Ending with a tease. I love it. Finally, what's the best way for fans to purchase music and merchandise from Siege Perilous, including the EP Creation's Call?
So, if you're wanting to get a digital download, go and look for us on Bandcamp. I think it's siegemetal.bandcamp, or just type in Siege Perilous. You'll find us. We've got a web store at siegemetal.com. We are in the process of getting it updated, which I will have to yell at my drummer about a little bit. No, it takes a little bit, and we've got to get some photos and things like that ready. But that should be up and running, I'm hoping, in the next few weeks after we all go into a brief coma following Mile High Power Festival.
Well, I'm probably going to go into a coma when I get home as well, so I understand. But I'm so stoked to see you guys play tomorrow for my first time, and I bet it's not the last time. Shaughnessy, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. It was really fun.